It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Our buddy Jake has a question.
Hey, Jake.
How do I not get frustrated when I have to go backwards in the foo? I was on step 7, but spending got a little out of control, and now I'm back at step 3. Sad face.
The answer to how do I not get frustrated, in my opinion, is that there's not an answer to that. You should get frustrated. It's okay to be frustrated whenever you have to take a step back. Like in your financial life, I was trudging along and crushing it. I had to step back. If you weren't frustrated with that, you probably wouldn't be a financial mutant. That's what makes financial mutants is they do want to continue to achieve, want to continue to progress, want to continue to move forward. And so when we have to move backwards, it's naturally frustrating. Now, how you handle that frustration is different. Like if you go into like this negative, deep, dark spiral mental spin, that's different. But being frustrated and saying, you know what? Okay, I'm going to figure out how I batten down the hatches. We're going to relook at the budget. We're going to figure out how we tighten things up. We're going to get rid of the excess. We're going to cut these subscriptions. We're going to do whatever the thing is you have to do in order to work back through the foo. That shouldn't be frustration. That should be fire. That should get you motivated to start moving back in the direction that you do. So the answer is, how do I not be frustrated? Don't try to not be frustrated. Try to figure out, how can I let this setback, how can I let this thing that I'm going through right now be the motivation that when I look back a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I say, great, that was a turning point that allowed me to take one step back and then 2, 3, 4, 5 steps forward.
I think it's interesting. We work with a lot of tech employees, and right now the tech sector, there's a lot of layoffs going on. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talk to you on the phone. We know what you're going through. When it was just a year ago, you're like, man, it's great. I can't wait to look at my RSUs. I can't wait to see what's coming in the future. And then you find out, man, there's a chance I might lose my job because a lot of these technology companies are just laying off droves of people. And it doesn't even mean that you're a bad person or a bad employee. Nope. It just means that there's a lot of cost-cutting measures going on. So it's not uncommon if somebody's asking, how do you go from a 7 to a 3? Well, there's lots of life things that can happen that can take you a step back. But that's what I want you to understand. The power of the financial order of operations, it is a maximization strategy on what to do with your next dollar. So if you have this mission to become a millionaire, you actually have the tools to know. And here's the thing I think. The first time I drive a place, I'm looking for landmarks. I'm getting confused. But then by the second, the third time I do it, I'm like, man, I got this figured out. And it's not just driving. It could be like the first time you do intermittent fasting. Yeah, and you realize, holy cow, maybe I don't, it gets easier the more you do stuff. So I think that, Jake, I would tell you to take a more glass half full, not glass half empty, is that if you went from 3 to 7 in the past, but now you've had to take a step back to tackle some things that have come up in your life, financial life, you can do this because you've already been there. You've already blazed the trail. You're not having to take the machete on thick underbrush. Now you're just maybe taking out some green shoots that you've crossed this path already. You can do it, and you'll come out on the other side better, and you now have at least a tool that helps you maximize every dollar that comes into your command.
Now, let me see if I can save you a little bit of a heartache here. Be careful allowing that frustration to result in relational damage. Because, I've done this in the past. We've made decisions where, earlier on we'd have to take a step back from savings or change something. Well, then I would be just, not like the best husband in the world, right? Like I would be like, oh no, don't go buy that shampoo, buy this shampoo. And don't, you know what I mean? And you do that kind of stuff. You got to be careful of that. Make sure that, especially if you're married, if you have a spouse, if there are other people who are involved in the decision-making process, you guys can be frustrated together and not one of you trying to carry the frustration for both of you and ending up in some relational strain. Because we know that one of the biggest things that happens in marriages and in relationships, one of the biggest areas that people fight over, is their finances. So again, be self-aware if you are finding yourself frustrated. Make sure you communicate that and have a process for working through and talking through that with your significant other.
Yeah, good communication, and even making an event. I mean, if you're taking a step back, you don't want to go do this in a restaurant. But maybe, my dating meal of choice was shake and bake. Do some shake and bake for your loved one, and then, have a sit down and talk about it, have good communication.
What's so funny is the majority of our audience, not majority of our audience, a lot of the folks who hang out with us, When they hear shake and bake, they're going to think of
Oh,
Ricky
yeah.
Bobby.
Ricky
They're
Bobby.
not going to think about the chicken.
Oh, no.
Because I guarantee you, Katie right now is like, I don't get that Ricky Bobby reference. I don't understand that. Not recognizing that was part of the $7 date.
No,
She has no idea.
Yeah. My wife knows what shake and bake. Shrimp cocktail and the $1.50 flowers you can buy at Kroger.
Oh, yeah.